Hello, all you little people. It's the main man here for another amazing chaotic recode match. Today, we have my Fluidmorpher deck invading the Mapedian Desert to try to take down a few mighty Warbeast. I have really enjoyed playing Fluid Morphers lately. Um, I know a lot of people hate them, and some people have said some nasty things on Recode when I get some wins with them, but I really like them. I like the sense of, oh, if I don't draw the right card next turn, I just lose the game, you know? So this is probably one of the tougher battles they fought because they're literally fighting against kaijus. Warbeast are one of my favorite archetypes, and I think it's one of those that like make chaotic. So it's Mount Pillar Reservoir. It's my location. It gives all minions and Marillions Water 5, which is great. But instead, my Lista is gonna go to his Killeron. My Lista will gain initiative, which is great for her because when she gains initiative, she gets outperform, power 10, and wisdom, or not wisdom, air 10, which is great. And she has a Destructozuka, so she'll get water 5. So maybe it would have been better if my Klinka would have gone into his Killeron, but who knows. So there's a Rage of Ani that's going to do 15 damage. I'm checking it again. If she was a minion, this would do 20. That would be great. But Lista's a great underworld creature to be, non-loyal. That's why she's in this deck. None of these cards are loyal to each other. I think this is probably the first ever deck that I'm using like a multi-tribe toolbox. There's a Cyclone Slam. That sucks. Look at how much damage that's about to do. Did 45. His Killeron has, I believe, Air 5 and Earth 5. I don't know if he has another ability, but he's really cool. Oh, creatures in battle. I can't even read it that fast. So he has something. He has something. I don't remember what it is. Maybe it's they can't get just removed from play. So there's a Twister of Elements, which is weird that, I guess it's not too weird. That'll do 20, so I have to heal, or this is code. I use Twister of Elements. You use it in a Fluid Morpher deck or decks you need to thin down the deck because it lets you discard 3 cards. And there's a Minor Roar. That's great to get that early. Um, I'm going to go ahead and play it because that would deal an insane amount of damage because I have 3 elements. I have Air 10 and Water 5. So he, I believe, has to heal. It might do 30. I don't remember. Let's see. If it does 3, that's 15, 25, 30. So I guess he didn't have to heal, but there's a Melody of Mirage. That's amazing to get it out of the game that early. Melody Mirage is one of the best musics in the game. It reduces attack damage to 0. What's better than that? And you can do it twice in a game because it's a music. So there's Radical Ice Balls. I have to heal or I'm code. And, the name of the game is to keep Lista alive long so I can keep doing water attacks. That way I can get my Fluid Morphers bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm healing with Ringes. I love Rings. He's so nice. One of my favorite artworks. So I'm deciding to do a Song of Symmetry that will heal 10 to me and deal 10 to him. I'm healing Ringus, so I'm healing for 25 and dealing 10 damage back to him. But yeah, let's see. What's his board like? He's got 3 Warbeast. He's got his main his Mapedian non-Warbeast fighter in the middle. He has Surprise and Earth 5. He has 2 Conjurers, Renoon that can heal, and Seville that reduces Recklessness pretty well. What did he do? I guess he just took it. Yeah, he just took it. For some reason, I thought he healed. There's an Insanity. That's really good to get because it has wind. I feel like Lista got that air 10, but I barely drew any air attacks in this little fight, which sucks. So there's an Unsanity. What? That'll deal 10, 25, I believe, because of my air 10 and my water 5 from Destructo Zuka. Like, if I can take down this War Beast with Lista, that's a huge win for me. Just straight out the gate. So he's thinking, I would too, because you got to think, do I heal in this scenario? And he doesn't. So it takes him all the way to 5. And, there's a Shadow Strike right there. I'm going to go ahead, but try to knock him out with a Song of Symmetry. There's all my Danian music, which, that means my last, half of my last music cards are pointless now. So he's going to go ahead and heal with Renoon. Kind of figured he would, but I got a music counter out of him, which is great because now he can only heal one more time. He's only got 3 music counters left, and you don't want to take him off Savell because he reduces recklessness by 10 for each counter on him. So you don't want to just spend, I'm going to spend Fighter's Fanfare. You know, there's a slow sand that'll do what 30 damage. That's crazy. So I'm going to do Nourishing Nocturne. That way I can sacrifice. You sacrifice a minion creature, and engaged creature gains their scanned energy. So I can get rid of Rings here, who I hate to say he's pointless because Rings has taken out some phenomenal creatures in some games, but I use him to give List of 30 energy, and there's a Tidal Surge that's great to get. That'll do 10 damage. That is enough. I wish I had a bigger attack card like a Caustic Cascade, so there was no way he could heal because he can heal for noon, right? Now it is good to get a music counter out of him if he heals, but I'd rather do a Caustic Cascade and kill it. I know, right? I have a little commentator with me. So he's thinking, does he let it go? Nope, he's gonna heal with Renoon. He heals 10. Now there is all of Renoon's healing, which is a win onto itself to get rid of an opponent's healing capabilities. There's a Sand Strike. Again, now I gotta debate. Do I heal or do I let this go? And with Killeron being at 5 energy, I'm gonna go in with it. I have that Shadow Strike that's gonna deal 10. I'm sure I'll draw into a good attack, but I'm gonna, sacrifice one of my Danians to let Lista win this fight. Because to take out that big of a War Beast this early, really good win, I think. And I used up so much of his resources and mine. To be fair, like I am totally out of music at this point. I can't play those last 2 Danian. Before a couple days ago or yesterday, I had horrible and generic music. Now I'm finally getting like good generic music. So this deck is going to look so different. So there's a Twister of Elements. Like I said, it lets you thin the deck out. I'm going to get rid of cards that are kind of pointless, like a Shadow Strike. Let's see, what else do I get rid of? I guess my Linquistent Swirls. And boom, there's a Mighty Warbeast gone. That's really good for me. He is out of healing music potentially. I'm out of music, but good, solid win in my book. Um, you know, because here's the thing, he has 3 War Beast. I have to get 3 Minor Roars to take out all 3 of his War Beast essentially. So to take one out with a non-Minor Roar, I think is really good. So now it's the Storm Tunnel. This is pretty good for me. It depends on who he attacks with. If he attacks with his Gothtra War Beast, that's really good for me because I'll get, I believe I'll get Initiative. How much power does Goth? Maybe not. Gothtra might have high power. But no, he's thinking what to do. Now, unfortunately, Lista will not be able to help my Fluidmorphers this fight because Destructozuka does not work again once it's revealed. I have to flip it back down. Now, this sucks. He's got the Revita Flower, so he can put 2 music counters on Renoon. So he can heal up to 20 damage, which sucks, but at least it's not 40. So I'm fighting Mizuko, or Ms. Kyo. We'll call her Ms. Kyo. Now, Ms. Kyo, kind of blocks my Lista because Lista can't get initiative because Misco has surprise. So that sucks to get. I'm gonna do an aftermath feint because I don't think Lista's gonna win this one. An aftermath feint lets you draw two cards once your creature's defeated and discard two cards. Um, if I would have won the courage challenge with that shadow strike, I think Lista would have won this fight. As you're about to see, because I'm 10 courage off from being able to win a wisdom. There's Hurricane that does 5. There's Twister of Elements that does did that do 10? I think that did 10. Because Storm Tunnel bumps, and there's an Aftermath Feint. So now I draw two cards, and they're two good cards. And I have both Marksman's Preparation, which sucks to get because I love Marksman's Preparation. It's one of my favorite attack cards. You just if you have both, you can discard them and you deal 30 damage, and they're only one cost attack. And I like them because it makes you thin the deck a little more, because then you have to draw an extra attack card. But I decided to get rid of them. And why do I decide to get rid of them? Well, because they don't help my Fluidmorphers. I need to pump them up so that they can do Minor Roar. Because my main threat is Blasphatan. Blasphatan is a monster, literally a monster, you know. But his Mizkio is really strong too with that Earth 5. He has another Warbeast, Gaftra. So it's still anyone's game. And he's debating how to move up his creatures. I guess I thought I was gonna buy a game because I opened up the Play Store for a second. Immersion ruined. But no, really good front line. And his Gaftra is a defender for Conjurer. So even if I hit his back row, he can just defend with that really awesome looking War Beast. I'd say Gaffitra, or is it Gaffra, is my favorite War Beast art. Just the like mummy look with his armor, and it's like what's the story behind this guy, you know? So I decide to attack his Sveil. He defends with his Gaffatra. I guess it's Gaffatra. Gaffatra. We're just gonna call him Ra. But I decided to do Seville because if I win, he has to attack me with his Mizkio, or else I can attack his Conjurers. I would have to win two fights in a row, but you do what you do. So I do win initiative because it is Von Bluth's Banquet and it's my location. There's a Caustic Cascade. That's great to draw into. That'll do 20 damage. It's almost half of his energy already. As much as I love Ra's appearance, his stats he needs better energy. Like only have 50 energy is not going to cut it for a War Beast. So I always wondered, like, was he just a giant guy? He's not really a War Beast, but some like Mepedian champion that's been regarded as a War Beast, and that's why his energy is so low. Let me know what you think. So Caustic Cascade's great to draw. I wish I was just complaining about Raw. He has great wisdom. He's got 100 wisdom, probably to help with the counter wise guys. So there's a Minor Roar. Great to draw into. That's my win con. This deck cannot win without that card. And some people are like, "Oh, you're so scummy for playing this." And it's like, this deck is not super great. Like, yes, it can win, but if you can early game destroy this, like if you can take out my Fluidmorphers, I just lose. There's nothing getting to it. And there's really easy ways to do that. There's an Insanity that takes them down to 20. Um, so now I'm going to go ahead and do Minor Roar. He has to either heal or use a Melody of Mirage, or that's code. It's always great to force your opponent to react. He can't just pass his turn. He has to do something. And I believe this would do 15, 20, 25. So he can just heal with Renown. And I believed he used the Melody of Mirage there. So he does attack, takes me to 15. Here's a Caustic Cascade. That is also another code, so he has to respond again. So that's back to back. He needs to respond. He does a Carnivore's Keening, which I think might have been maybe a little bit of a play, I would have done Savell to cast that, so you keep a healing music. I guess not, because then you start taking recklessness damage, and that's not great. So don't listen to me. I think that was probably the correct play. Now that I'm saying it out loud, but no. I really, really need to beat this War Beast. It would be a huge win if I do, and I don't. So that's the opposite. That's a huge loss for me. I used up a minor war and it did not pay off. Now, there is some small winnings. I did get rid of his Renoon's healing abilities finally now, unless Blazotan has another Revita flower on him, which I doubt it. And at least Raw has used his Destructo Zuka, so now he can't get wind, so he will only hit my creatures for earth. And my other fluid morpher is at 8 music counters, which is pretty nice. So he does the Hunter's Perimeter, which is a Mirage location. He puts it on my fluid morpher, which is a really cool play, as you're about to see pretty quickly. And it's my Klinka against his Miskio. So I need to win this fight. I cannot let this lizard get over my ant boy, because then that's three creatures my fluid morpher will have, like, when I mean creatures, I mean strong fighters that my fluid morpher is going to have to try to get over. But there's a Caustic Cascade that's going to do 25 damage because I have Torrent Keith on my Klinka. So this is why he puts the Mirage location. He uses Strain of Expensive Things, destroys my Skeletal Steed. So now my Fluid Morpher is gonna have a hard time getting places. There's Sunderground, not enough. So the Sunderground is not enough to code. I don't even think he had Earth at that point. So there is. I draw my Minor Roar. I could use it and get the win, but I can't. I have to keep it. That is my only win con against the two Warbeast for my Fluid Morpher. So if he codes me here, which he probably there's no way because he just has Wind. So there's an Unsanity, and that gets me the win. So looking pretty good. I just have to be fearful of one thing. If he has Fighter's Fanfare, that is an instant loss for me. Unless my lone Danian could survive, two giant war beast. You know? So I'm thinking this is pretty good. This is pretty good. I think my Danian can beat his Raw. He's only gonna have wind. It's gonna be my location. So that's gonna be pretty good. So it's Broken Edge, which not. I'll just get initiative. There's nothing. My locations for this deck still really struggle, just because I don't have great locations with good effects for air and water initiative. So there's my Klinka goes. I get initiative, like I said, but I don't have a good attack hand. It's an Aftermath Feint, my Minor Roar, which I don't want to waste, and my Marksman's Preparation, which, I need the other one to work. So I use Aftermath Feint. I guess that's probably the best card, because if Klinka loses, I can get my other one. There's a Cyclone Slam that hit for 25, and I just hit for 10 with Tidal Surge. Thank God for my Torrent Keith. There's a Freeze Flash, that's 10. There's Caustic Cascade. Boom, that'll do 20 whole damage. Or 15 because of my whatchamacallit. There's a Cyclone Slam, and there was the code, which, silver lining, Cyclone Slam is probably the best attack card for Warbeast right now, I would argue. So really good to get him to use both. And here you see me checks like, oh, Fighter's Fanfare in my future? Question mark. Because, you know, that's an instant loss for me. It lets you bounce back the attack damage you would take. So, a Minor Roar would completely squish my squid. Um, So luckily, he says he doesn't have it. Spoiler alert. So it makes the game more interesting. I would not have just conceded if he said yes, but I just wanted to know. I guess that was very unprofessional of me. Um, so I would not ask again. I did feel a little embarrassed now that I'm recording this for it. But there's a minor roar, and there's my marksman's preparation for my attack hand. Pretty good cards to have. One is my win con, and one is just a strong attack card if I get it. There's Ravenel Ridge. That will help a lot. That lets you look at the top three attack cards. Keep one on top, and then put the other two at the bottom. So I'm going at. He puts his Renoon up as a sacrifice, but it makes sense. He has Omar's projector. If I hopefully code Renoon, he gets to put it anywhere back on the board. So it's like this fight doesn't really matter. I guess it does because I can get fluid morph counters, but he's doing it to try to get good attack cards in hand, which he Warbeast have some really good attack cards. So there's Petrifying Power. I believe that helps set up the location deck. I don't think I've ever used that card. There's my Marksman's Preparation. It does nothing. I don't really get why I threw it out just like that. I guess you'll see. There's Linquistent Swirl. That'll do 10 damage, but I give up water, which really sucks in this deck because I don't have too many air attacks. There's Unsanity. That only does 5 because I don't get the water. And look, there's my other Minor Roar. So that's great to get. There's the Inquisitive Swirl, only does 0. There's a Twister of Elements. There's a Marksman's Preparation. There's my other one. Not doing any damage. So he's going to get to stack his attack deck pretty well. There's a Rage of Ani. Thank God it just does 5 natural damage. And look, his Renoon's back. So he lost no, recklessness reduction. And now I'm fighting the mightiest of Warbeast Blasphatan. Can my Marillion pull it off? Well, you bet Jurassic I can. Oh, looky there. There's Minor Roar. Um, yeah, yeah, that's the fun part of Fluidmorphers. If you can make it work, it feels really, really, really good to beat a Blasphatan with one attack card. It feels so good. So now I'm going after his raw. Thankfully, Darkened Dunes let me get range or little extra. And look, another minor roar. Boom, 2 War Beast taken out with 2 attack cards. So the Storm Tunnel. Here's Savell, the goat, with his own Destructo Zuka. That's pretty nice. And you might think, oh, you got this in the bag. You're fighting a Conjurer. Conjurers are really squishy. You know, this is the perfect location for him, though. He's going to get Air 5 and Earth 5. You know, we're even joking in the chat like, "Oh, time for Savell to throw hands," but this is the best opportunity for him to throw hands. So there's a Caustic Cascade, and my water attacks are getting reduced by 5. And there's Insanity. It's only going to do what, 10? Thankfully, there's Sand Strike, and here's a Caustic Cascade. If I had not drawn that card, or if he had some sort of healing he could still do, I would have lost that match. So that is the fun of Fluidmorphers. I feel like it's always super, super, super close, at least with this deck list, and it feels really good to pull wins out. Now, don't get me wrong, it feels horrible to get curb stomped by like a Wise Guys deck that just takes out everything in like 2 hits. Well, that's how we do it in the NCO, people. Those war beasts might have tried to stomp us out, but we just kept gaining and gaining and gaining music counters until we could drown these giant sand-dwelling creatures in water they haven't seen in centuries. And remember, here at the NCO, this is where the big boys play, and that's the bottom line.